Hi, and welcome to the Risk Management Training video series on hazing, recognition, prevention, and intervention. My name is Douglas Eck. I serve as an assistant dean within our Dean of Students office.
And I'm Jason Bergeron. I'm the director of our Center for Fraternity and Sorority Life here at the university.
Before we begin, it's really important to talk about hazing. Let's define hazing. Hazing is any action or situation that is created which, regardless of intent or consent of the participants, produces or is reasonably likely to produce bodily harm or danger, mental or physical discomfort, embarrassment, harassment, fright, humiliation, or ridicule, or otherwise compromises the dignity of any individual. Similarly, it may compel an individual to participate in any activity which is unlawful and or contrary to the rules, policies, and regulations of the university. It may unreasonably or unusually impair an individual's academic efforts, and of course, remember, it can occur on or off campus. There are many laws and policies that govern hazing. You will recognize that Texas is a state that has educational codes that prohibit hazing in all Texas public and private schools. Additionally, the University of Houston has a hazing policy that can be found in the student handbook and, of course, in the Code of Student Conduct. All students at the University of Houston are emailed a copy of the hazing policy at the start of every semester.
Hazing can include a lot of examples, some of which you'll see on the screen in front of you. That can include physical hazing to the likes of assault, physical calisthenics. That can include forced alcohol consumption, also hazing of a verbal or emotional nature, such as verbal assault. Anything that might hinder a student's academic success, such as sleep deprivation, lineups and marches, those can be considered hazing as well. Please keep in mind that running of personal errands and servitude as well, those are things that are counterproductive to the organization and would be considered hazing. Also, any undue limitations on use of communication, social media usage, things like that, those are also considered hazing activities as well. So there's a lot of myths and misunderstandings about hazing out there. One being that it only impacts fraternities and sororities. Hazing has the potential to impact any organization where a power differential exists, whether that be fraternities and sororities, general student organizations, sports teams and sports clubs, or anybody else. Another myth is that everything an organization does can be considered hazing. And in a following slide, we'll actually help you to think through activities to identify if they are hazing or not. As long as an individual gives their consent, it's not hazing. We know that that's actually not true because there can be a great amount of social pressure to gain membership into an organization. We know that students might do things that they wouldn't necessarily do to be able to gain membership within that organization. Hazing a little is not necessarily a bad thing. We know that hazing happens to different intensities, but we also don't know how even a small amount of hazing is going to impact an individual. So we really identify all hazing activities as counterproductive and counterintuitive to advancing the organization.
Additionally, the myth that hazing is acceptable as long as it is not physically dangerous is incorrect. Again, hazing can be emotional, mental, or physical. The notion of I was hazed, so it's simply a rite of passage is also incorrect. Hazing is wrong regardless if it happened in the past, if it's happening now, or the notion of planning hazing in the future is an idea. Finally, the belief that I'll never get caught or turned in for hazing is incorrect. Organizations have a widespread impact on the university campus. Organizational members, advisors, faculty, staff, and administrators make up this large community. People may talk. People may have interest in your organization, and information can spread quickly.
What you see on the screen is a flowchart that will help you think through activities within your organization to determine if there's hazing within that. The first thing being if it puts your members in emotional, physical, or mental harm. If it does, we need you to stop doing that activity. If it doesn't, then think about the educational purpose and the educational outcomes of the activity. If you can articulate those clearly, then please move on to the next one. So that includes contacting your national organization, if that applies, or potentially an advisor, a trusted individual, maybe a member of the faculty or staff here at the university, and explain that activity to them, including the purpose, the educational outcomes, and ask if that's hazing. If they say no, feel free to continue with that activity. If they say yes, feel free to use a different activity. Use your creative juices. Make sure to ask for suggestions about how you might be able to achieve the educational outcomes that you're looking for, but use an activity that doesn't put people in physical, mental, or emotional harm. So the most important way to remove hazing from your organization is to prevent it from occurring in the first place. So make sure to tie all of your activities to the shared mission, standards, and expectation of your organization. Use that as a guiding tool in thinking about activities. Make sure to engage in regular education and conversation with your members about the dangers of hazing. Remember that hazing prevention is not a one-time conversation, but it's a multiple-time conversation to ensure that the group is having a rich dialogue about how to keep hazing out of the organization. And as always, make sure to use faculty, staff, and other departmental resources here at the university, whether that be a trusted individual who can help you work through that flowchart and that diagram, or just to talk with somebody about some of those activities and if they might be hazing or not.
So let's talk briefly about what to do if you recognize hazing happening now within your organization. First, you want to talk to others that you trust. This could be a president, an older member, an advisor. It could also be a faculty member, an administrator, or even a family member. Remember, it's always easier to speak up and not be a bystander when you have others who can support you in your initiative. It is important, it is imperative to report it. Understand, students are here for an academic purpose. Your academic, physical, or emotional well-being could be at risk if situations of hazing are going on within an organization. And then finally, if it is occurring within your organization, move swiftly. Speak to that president, speak to that trusted source, and make sure that you report it.
So we tend to think of hazing as a policy violation, which it is, but the more important conversation is about human dignity and respect. It is not solely about a violation of university policy, but really a violation of our shared values of respect and human dignity here at the university. And when hazing occurs in any organization and in any capacity, it cheapens that experience for all student organizations, as what it teaches is fear, power, and disrespect. So as you're thinking about hazing prevention and hazing intervention resources, we have a number of departments and programs on campus that will help you in your conversation about hazing. The Center for Fraternity and Sorority Life, specifically for members of fraternities and sororities, is a great resource and a great location to assist in thinking through activities and thinking through programs to identify if there is hazing occurring and building a hazing prevention program. If you're a general student organization, the Center for Student Involvement is a great place to do all of those same things to craft a really great hazing prevention program or to identify if some of those activities are hazing as well.
Also recognize that the staff in the Dean of Students office is ready and able to assist you in any aspect of hazing prevention, intervention, and investigation. The Dean of Students does investigate all aspects of hazing allegations and is able to assist you in that process. Recognize also that if you wish to remain anonymous, we have an anonymous reporting site at mysafecampus.com. All allegations of hazing submitted through that website, of course, are followed up on. And finally, don't forget the University of Houston Police Department. Our officers on campus are well-versed and well-trained in hazing prevention and investigation and can assist you in any of those matters as well.
We thank you for your time and attention today as we talked about hazing. If you have any questions about hazing, please make sure to refer to the campus resources we just described.